The Nirvana Sutra, Chapter 2, The Adamantine Body. At that time, the world-honored one once again addressed Kasyapa, saying, Good man, the body of a Tathagata is a permanently abiding body, an indestructible body, an adamantine body. It is not a body sustained by food of any sort. In other words, it is a Dharma body. The Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, World-honored one, I do not see anything like the bodies that you have just enumerated. All that I can see is a body that is impermanent, destructible, made of atoms, which consumes different food and so forth. Why? Because the Tathagata is about to enter Nirvana. The Buddha said, Kasyapa, now you must not say that the Tathagata's body is not solid, that it is subject to destruction like the body of an ordinary person. Good man, you should be aware of the fact that the body of a Tathagata has become hardened and difficult to destroy over an immense period of time, hundreds of millions of kalpas. It is not like the body of a human or a god, nor is it a body bound by fear, nor is it a body that consumes any sort of food. The Tathagata body is a body and is not a body. It was not born, and it will not cease to exist. It does not learn, and it does not practice. It is immeasurable and boundless. It leaves no footprints. It does not discern things and has no form to discern. It is utterly pure. It has no movement. It is neither passive nor active. It is non-abiding and non-becoming. It is unflavored and unmixed. It was not created. It has no karma and no karmic fruit. It does not move. It does not disappear. It is not a thought, nor is it a number. It is inconceivable, and it will always be inconceivable. It has no consciousness in the usual sense. Its thoughts are impartial, neither separate nor not separate. It is not, and it is. It has neither coming nor going, and yet it does come and go. It cannot be destroyed, damaged, removed, or cut off. It does not come into existence, and it does not go out of existence. It does not dominate, and yet it is dominant. It is not being, and it is not non-being. It is not realized, and it is not observed. It cannot be put into words, and yet it is not non-linguistic. It is neither definite nor indefinite. It cannot be seen, yet it is clearly visible. It is without any location, and yet it is located. It is without any residence, and yet it resides. It is without any darkness, and without light. It has no quiescence, and yet it is quiescent. It possesses nothing. It does not receive, and it does not give. It is pure and without stain. It has no disputes, having cut off disputation. It resides without any place of residence. It neither takes nor falls into a samsaric existence. It is neither a dharma nor a non-dharma. It is neither a field of merit nor not a field of merit. There is no exhausting it, it cannot be exhausted, and it is totally separate from all ways of being exhausted. It is empty, and yet dissociated from emptiness. Although it does not permanently reside anywhere, there is no cessation of its thought stream. It has no stains. It is without words, existing apart from words. It is not voice, it is not speech. It does not learn. It does not weigh, and it does not measure. It is neither unified nor differentiated. It is neither an image nor a characteristic, though it is adorned with external characteristics. It has neither bravery nor fear. It has no quiescence. It does not become quiet. It has no heat. It does not warm. It is not visible. It has no external form. A Tathagata saves all living beings and yet does not save anyone, which is why he is able to liberate living beings. He does not liberate anyone, which is why he awakens living beings. He does not awaken anyone, which is why the Dharma he preaches accords with reality. He is non-dual, and therefore immeasurable, unequally, evenly consistent like space, completely without shape, of the same nature as non-arising. He does not cut off what is not permanent. He always courses in the single vehicle, though living beings see three vehicles. He does not retrogress and does not turn away from cutting through all fetters, nor does he confront or contact anyone. He is without any nature and abides in that nature. He is neither combined nor dispersed, neither long nor short, neither round nor square. He is not made of aggregates, sense spaces, or sense realms, and yet there are aggregates, sense spaces, and sense realms in him. He neither increases nor decreases, neither wins nor loses. The body of a Tathagata accomplishes merit that is thus beyond measure. There is no one who fully understands this, yet there is no one who does not understand this. There is no one who sees it, yet there is no one who does not see it. It is neither created nor uncreated. It is neither worldly nor unworldly. It is neither made nor not made. It is neither a support nor not a support. It is neither a composite of the four major elements nor not a composite of the four major elements. It does not arise from causes, but neither does it arise non-causally. It is not the body of a living being, but neither is it the body of a non-living being. It is neither the body of a Shramana, nor that of a Brahmin. This lion is a grand lion. It is not a body, and yet it is not a non-body. There is no way to fully communicate this. Aside from one Dharma characteristic, its virtues cannot be enumerated. When it enters the final parinirvana, it does not enter parinirvana. The Dharma bodies of Tathagatas have all accomplished innumerable subtle and virtuous qualities such as these. Kasyapa, there is no one other than a Tathagata who understands this. It is not something understood by either Shravakas or Pratyeka Buddhas. Kasyapa, a Tathagata body that has achieved virtuous qualities such as this, is not a body sustained by eating of any sort. Kasyapa, as the virtuous qualities in the true body of a Tathagata are such, how could it also be subject to illness or stress, as vulnerable and fragile as an unfired pot? Kasyapa, the reason the Tathagata manifests illness is in order to tame living beings. Good man, by now you should understand that the body of a Tathagata is an adamantine Vajra body. From this day forth you should always focus your thoughts on this meaning. Do not think of it as a body sustained by eating. Moreover, you should explain to others as well that the Tathagata's body is in fact a Dharma body. The Bodhisattva Kasyapa addressed the Buddha and said, World-honored one, the Tathagata has accomplished such significant virtue. How indeed could his body be subject to illness, pain, impermanence, or destruction? From today, I will always think of the Tathagata's body as a permanent Dharma body, a body of bliss, and I will disseminate this to others. As such, world-honored one, the Tathagata's Dharma body is indeed adamantine and indestructible, and yet I am still unable to understand the causality that brought it into being. The Buddha said, Kasyapa, it is by means of the causality resulting from upholding the true Dharma that one achieves an adamantine body. Kasyapa, having upheld the causal principles of the Dharma since the distant past, I have now attained this adamantine body, permanent and indestructible. Good man, those who are committed to upholding the true Dharma, regardless of whether or not they themselves have accepted the 5 lay precepts or carry out the proper observances, will do whatever it takes to defend those pure monks who do keep the precepts, even wielding knives and swords, bows and arrows, or halberds and lances in their defense. The Bodhisattva Kasyapa then addressed the Buddha again, asking, World-honored one, if we come across a monk who lives apart from any protected community, residing alone in an isolated, quiet spot in the hills or under a tree, should we call that person a true bhikshu? What about a person who follows someone who provides protection for the Dharma? Should we recognize such people as householder shavelings? The Buddha informed Kasyapa, do not use such language calling them householder shavelings. There may be individual mendicants who, wherever they go, comport themselves in a manner that is deserving of offerings. They may read and recite the sutras and engage in contemplation and seated meditation. And when people come to them with questions on the Dharma, they may then give a sermon speaking about charity, discipline, merit-making, minimizing desire, and knowing satisfaction therein. But though they may be able to preach in various ways, they will never have the authority of the lion's roar. They will not be surrounded by other lions, and they will not be able to vanquish the wicked who violate the norms of behavior. Bhikshus such as these ultimately are unable to benefit themselves, and they are unable to benefit others. You should understand these people to be lazy idlers. Although they may hold to the precepts and promote the pure practices of a Brahmin, those people cannot really do anything. There may be bhikshus who comport themselves in a manner that is deserving of offerings, but only if they are able to accept the precepts and restrictions of our community and maintain them as such will they be able to effect the lion's roar when they preach the sublime Dharma. This will be so throughout the ninefold canon of scriptures that are preached in order to benefit and comfort living beings. That is, sutras, verses, predictions, metric narratives, proclamations, past life stories of the Buddha's disciples, past life stories of the Buddha, extended discourses, and miracles of the Buddha. You may declare the following. In the Nirvana Sutra, the Buddha established restrictions on the bhikshus such that they should not keep slaves, cows, sheep, or anything improper. If there is a monk who keeps anything impure like this, he must be reined in. The Tathagata had also explained in previous sutras that when there are monks who keep improper things such as these, you should chase them down and return them to lay status, just like any given king controls his country according to his dharma. Whenever there is a bhikshu who can roar like a lion in this way, the precept breakers who hear him speak will all be consumed with rage and attack the Dharma master. This Dharma preacher, however, even if his life were to end as a result, would be known as one who kept the precepts, benefiting himself and others. For this reason, I give sovereigns, government officials, royal counselors, and Buddhist laymen permission to protect Dharma preachers. Anyone who wants to protect the true Dharma effectively should study what has been outlined here. Kashyapa, those who break the precepts and do not protect the Dharma, I call householder shavelings. Someone who does not maintain the precepts earns a name like this. Good man, in the distant past, innumerable, seemingly endless Asamkhya kalpas ago, in this town of Kusinagara, a Buddha appeared in the world known as Nandivardhana Tathagata, worthy of offerings, of right and universal knowledge, with clarity and conduct perfect, well gone, with understanding of the world, unsurpassed worthy, tamer of men, teacher of gods and humans, awakened world-honored one. At that time, the world was vast, exquisitely pure, plentiful and peaceful. The people prospered greatly, and there was no hunger or thirst. Like the Sukhavati land of bliss, it was filled with bodhisattvas and the like. This Buddha world-honored one resided in that world for an immeasurable length of time, saving living beings, and after which, lying down between twin sal trees, he entered Mahaparinirvana. After that Buddha's nirvana, the true teaching abided in the world for seemingly countless millions of years. But during the last 40 years of that era, when that Buddha's teaching was about to disappear, one monk appeared who kept the precepts. His name was Buddhadatta. He was surrounded by a large group of followers and produced the lion's roar when he preached across the entire ninefold division of scriptures. He imposed restrictions on the monks, telling them they could not keep slaves, cows, sheep, or anything improper. At that time, there were many monks who violated the precepts, and when they heard him speak of these things, all of them harbored evil thoughts, taking up swords and staves to intimidate this Dharma master. At that time, the king was called Bhavadatta. Hearing the commotion, he took steps to protect the Dharma by immediately going to where the Dharma preacher was, and then doing everything he could to help him fight back against the evil precept-breaking monks, thereby enabling the Dharma preacher to escape harm. But the king himself was severely injured in the melee, struck by swords, arrows, and lances. There was no place on his body that was spared from a wound, not even an area as small as a mustard seed. Upon seeing him in this state, Buddhadatta immediately praised him, saying, "Excellent, excellent king, you are now a genuine protector of the true teaching. In a future world, You yourself will become a Dharma vessel of immeasurable proportion." When he heard these words from the preacher, the king was filled with joy. Soon thereafter, his life came to an end, and he was reborn in the land of the Buddha Aksobhya, becoming that Buddha's principal disciple there. The citizen followers of the king, whether they were soldiers who fought with him or individuals who rejoiced at his efforts, were all filled with a non-retrogressive resolution to attain awakening. And when their lives ended, they were all reborn in the land of the Buddha Aksobhya as well. After that kalpa ended, the life of the monk Buddhadatta also came to an end, and he, too, achieved rebirth in the land of the Buddha Aksobhya. Among the Shravakas listening to that Buddhadatta became his number 2 disciple. Thus, when the true teaching is about to come to an end, you should maintain and protect it in this manner. Kasyapa, the king at that time, was none other than I myself. The bhikshu who preached the Dharma was the Buddha Kasyapa. Those who defend the true teaching Kasyapa obtain this kind of incomparable reward. As a consequence of those events, I have attained the various marks by which I adorn myself today, having achieved a Dharma body, an indestructible body. The Bodhisattva Kasyapa then addressed the Buddha, saying, "World-honored one, a Tathagata's permanent body is something like a painted rock." The Buddha said to Kasyapa, "Good man, this is why monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen must all redouble their efforts to defend and uphold the true Dharma. The rewards for taking responsibility for preserving the Dharma are extensive, boundless. Good man, for this reason, laymen who defend the Dharma may need to take up swords and staves in this way to protect those monks who are upholding the Dharma. If one has taken the vow of maintaining the 5 precepts, in and of itself that does not mean that person has earned the appellation a person of the Mahayana. On the other hand, someone who has not taken the 5 precepts, yet defends the true Dharma, would be given the title of a person of the Mahayana. When necessary, protectors of the true Dharma should take up swords and other weapons to serve the Dharma preachers." Kasyapa said to Buddha, "World-honored one, if monks stand side by side with laymen wielding swords or staves in defense of the Dharma, would they still be considered teachers or not? Would they still be maintaining the precepts or violating them?" The Buddha said to Kasyapa, "Do not suggest that this would mean a violation of the precepts. Good man, after my nirvana, a degenerate age will come upon the world, nations will be in chaos, people will steal from one another, and society will be plagued by famine. At that time, many will aspire for the monastic life because they are hungry. Such individuals I call shavelings. When they see there are pure monks who are maintaining the precepts, protecting the true Dharma, and comporting themselves with dignity, these shavelings will run after those monks to chase them away, perhaps injuring or even killing them." The Bodhisattva Kasyapa then spoke to the Buddha. "World-honored one, those people who do not keep the precepts and who do protect the true Dharma, how will they manage to travel between towns and cities in order to teach?" The Buddha answered, "Good man, that is why I now allow those who keep the precepts to rely on the companionships of those in white robes who wield weapons. Though kings, high officials, and merchants may take up weapons as lay followers in order to protect the Dharma, I declare this to be entirely in keeping with the precepts. However, though one may take up weapons in defense of the Dharma, he should not take another's life. To act in the way I have described would constitute the most principled precept-keeping. Kasyapa, when I say someone is protecting the Dharma, I am referring to a monastic who is endowed with right opinions, who can disseminate widely the Mahayana scriptures. Such a person never keeps decorated royal parasols, oil pots, rice or other grains, or any kind of fruits or melons. He does not cultivate relationships with kings, government officials, or the wealthy for personal gain. He is not obsequious towards patrons. He is meticulous in his comportment, and he is stern with those who break the precepts and others who behave badly. Such a person I call a teacher who keeps the precepts and protects the Dharma, who can be a true spiritual guide to living beings, and whose mind is broad and expansive like a great ocean. Kasyapa, if there is a monk who preaches the Dharma to others for personal gain, his followers and associates will learn from their teacher and also covet personal gain. This person will destroy his own community in this way. Kasyapa, there are 3 types of Sangha communities. Sanghas that include people who violate precepts, Sanghas made up of the foolish and ignorant, and Sanghas of people who live in a pure way. The communities that include people who violate precepts are easily spoiled, but the communities of those who are pure in keeping the precepts cannot be spoiled, even by situations that offer them personal gain. Which Sanghas include people who violate precepts? There are some monks who, although they normally observe the rules of behavior, when there is personal gain involved, spend considerable time with people who violate precepts, and inevitably become intimate with them through joint activities. These I call precept violators, or Sangha members who mix with precept violators. Which Sanghas are foolish and ignorant? If there are monks in the forest whose faculties are dim and dull, and who do not see things clearly, who have few desires and beg for their meals, who on days for reciting the precepts, or the occasions for confessing precept violations, teach their disciples how to make a pure confession, but, when seeing others who are not their disciples blithely violate the precepts, yet do not manage to enjoin them to make a pure confession and, unaffected by this, sit together with them throughout the precept recitation and confession ceremonies. This I call a Sangha of the foolish and ignorant. Which Sanghas are pure? These are the monks who are not damaged by the acts of even 10 trillion Maras. The basic nature of this group of bodhisattvas is pure, and they are able to straighten out the other 2 groups I have just mentioned, enabling everyone to live in peace in pure communities. I call them Dharma-protecting, most excellent Vinaya masters. Because of their desire to discipline and thereby benefit living beings, they understand which aspects of the moral precepts are unimportant and which are important. They do not affirm behavior that is not in keeping with the discipline. Behavior in keeping with the discipline they do affirm. How does someone discipline another? If bodhisattvas are going to spiritually transform other living beings, they must be a constant presence in towns and villages regardless of time or occasion. They might end up in the homes of widows or female entertainers, even living together with them for many years. If they were Shravakas, this type of thing could not be done, but this bodhisattva work I call disciplining and benefiting living beings. How does one know which precepts should be considered weighty? As you see the Tathagata establish a precept on the basis of some incident, from that day forward you should follow that rule and take care not to commit a similar offense. Thus we have the 4 grave parajika offenses that one who has gone forth as a monastic must never commit. If, despite these rules, one still transgresses, that person is no longer a shramana. That person is not in the lineage of Shakyamuni. This I would call serious or weighty. Which precept should be considered light? If one commits a violation in a trivial situation, and upon being remonstrated 3 times is able to give up such behavior, this I would call light or insignificant. To not affirm non-compliance with the precepts refers to the refusal to reside together with anyone who lauds impure things and urges you to accept them. To affirm compliance with the precept refers to the careful study of the monastic precepts and the avoidance of anyone who violates them. Whenever noticing conduct in another that accords with the rules in the Vinaya, one's heart is filled with joy. This is how one grasps what is wrought in by the Buddha's Dharma, and is fully capable of explaining it. This is a person I would call a Vinaya master, one who thoroughly grasps just one word of the Vinaya, or one who thoroughly retains what is in the sutras, are also like this. In this way, good man, the Buddha Dharma is immeasurable, inconceivable. The Tathagata himself is thus, beyond conception. The Bodhisattva Kasyapa then addressed the Buddha, saying, World-honored one, just so, just so. Truly, a sacred teaching like the Buddha's Dharma is immeasurable and inconceivable. The Tathagata himself is just the same, beyond conception. Therefore, we know that the Tathagata is permanently abiding, indestructible, and unchanging. From now on, I will study hard in order to disseminate this meaning to others. At that time, the Buddha praised the Bodhisattva Kasyapa. Excellent, excellent. The body of a Tathagata is just like that, a body that is adamantine and indestructible. Bodhisattvas should thoroughly study right perception and right understanding. If you are able to see all these things clearly in this way, then you will see the Buddha's adamantine body, his indestructible body, just as if you were looking at images of yourself reflected in a mirror. End of Chapter 2 in full of the Mahaparinirvana Sutra.